What's up, it's Cinema Shogun here, and Quinton Simon's biological father, Bubba, leaked a recent phone call that he had with Quinton Simon's grandmother, Billie to a few different media outlets. Now, they haven't released the full audio of this phone call yet. In my last video, I released the snippet that they had released so far, but we do have a full transcript of basically everything that was said in the conversation. Now, personally, I want to wait to actually listen to it. Like, words can look and sound one way on paper, but when you're actually hearing someone talking, it has a way different effect. So I really want to wait to hear the rest of the audio before I jump to any conclusions or make judgments or share my opinions. But if they take too long to release it, then we'll probably go over the transcripts, maybe in the next video. But there is one portion of this conversation that I cannot wait to talk about. I have to talk about it now. Because in the conversation, both Billie and Quinton Simon's dad, they were both frustrated that Danny, Leilani's boyfriend, ran off to Atlanta. They were also wondering why he wasn't also named a suspect in this case. And I am wondering that as well. Why has Leilani been the only one specifically named? What do they have that would pinpoint Leilani and just totally not even really consider Danny? They must know something, right? Now, we heard early on from one of Danny's friends, this was not confirmed information. This was just information one of his friends was sharing. They said that he was in Atlanta, that he got cleared by investigators, that he passed the polygraph test, and you name it. They even shared a video of him shooting pool with his friends. Now, there's been multiple press conferences since then. People have asked law enforcement questions about Danny in these press conferences. And they have still been adamantly saying that Leilani is basically the only suspect right now, and that they believe Quinton is in the landfill. Now, in this conversation, Billie says that she is currently working to try to expose Danny because she claims that Danny lied about going to Atlanta and that Danny really ran off to Dunn, North Carolina. Now, we could believe Billie or we could not believe Billie. But this goes to show what I've been trying to point out over the past couple of videos. That in my opinion, they're starting to steer their ship, if you will, and they're getting the cannons loaded because they're about to start firing shots at Danny. They're going to start blaming Danny. And in my opinion, I think they want to plant seeds of doubt in everyone's mind about a couple of people, the babysitter and Danny. But right now, their main focus is Danny. And don't get me wrong, I've said time and time again, I think it's suspect that he ran off. It's like these two were engaged. This isn't just boyfriend, girlfriend, a little fling. They were engaged. They were obviously living together. They had a new child together. And it's just like, as soon as Quinton went missing, they just broke up. And Danny's just, well, deuces. I'll see you later. Forget the kid. Forget all that nonsense. I am out of here. That's what it looks like to me. But the thing is, in this situation, even though I think it's sus that Danny ran off, I think it's very possible that Danny was involved or knows a little bit more about the situation. But we know for a fact now from Bubba that Leilani has a history of blaming her crimes on her boyfriends. Bubba, Quinton's dad, the reason he is no longer with Leilani is because he left Leilani because Leilani got him locked up for something that he had nothing to do with. Because Leilani would get caught doing stupid stuff. For example, she broke into someone's trailer and stole $50 worth of freaking dimes and pennies out of a jar. And when she got caught and she got arrested, she decided that she was going to tell law enforcement that really her boyfriend put her up to it and it was all his fault. Mind you, he wasn't even there. And then later on, he just gets arrested for it and he's like, what the hell is even going on? But that wasn't even the first time that she pinned something on him, and it wasn't the last time. Because she then went on to blame him for stealing someone's wallet that she stole. So she has a history of pinning what she does on her boyfriends for no apparent reason. Like when she got caught stealing that $50 worth of change, it wasn't going to help her to pin her boyfriend for the crime as well. She could have went to jail and took her charges, but instead, she wanted her boyfriend to take charges as well. And they ended up both getting charges, even though he had nothing to do with it. So eventually he had to separate himself from her. And he says that she is downright evil, a liar, a thief. And everyone that I have talked to that knows her, they all say that she is a thief. And I don't trust thieves. But I do still think, yeah, there's something weird about the boyfriend running off, but maybe he was just trying to go ahead and excommunicate himself from the situation. It seems that he disabled a lot of his current social medias because there are some that are still up, but I don't think those were the ones that he was currently using when all of this situation happened. His parents came and got him. There's all type of stuff that Billie Joe is trying to say here. But what do you all think? Like, how can I put this? On a scale from 1 to 10, let me know down in the comments below. How likely do you think it is that Danny is in on this? 10 being the most likely, 1 being the least likely. How likely do you think it is that Danny is in on all of this? Because I feel like there's a possibility, but I can't help but think about Leilani's history. And I also can't help but think about how all of this seems like a coordinated effort, which I've been pointing out for like 2 or 3 days now, that this whole tune has changed. And it seems like they're coming together with like a plan of what they're going to do moving forward. And Billie Joe having this conversation with Bubba, I'm not so sure that she didn't know she was being recorded. I mean, I don't think Bubba told her, hey, you're being recorded. But I think that she's smart enough to know. And yeah, you could say, oh, people who do this and do that, junkies, whatever, they're not smart. They're street smart in many different ways. And I think she's been around the block enough to know that some of her phone calls are being monitored. Okay? You could say she's dumb. You could say Leilani's dumb. You could say they're all dumb as a bag of bricks. Billie Joe's been around the block enough. She's got a son in jail for murder. She's been around the block enough to know that her phone calls are being monitored. So when she says this stuff to Bubba in these phone conversations, I want everyone to keep that in mind. I don't want people to approach it thinking that this is just Billie Joe being authentically her and saying her authentic words without also having in the back of her mind that she may be being recorded. So while some may think, oh, well, she almost implicates her daughter by saying she thinks an accident happened. No. Because you have to get the bigger picture. Because the bigger picture is, oh, I think they got high, they got wasted, and he drowned it in the bathtub, right? That's what she said, right? Well, she's already been elsewhere on live streams putting together the narrative that Leilani fell asleep that night and that Danny is the one that gave the kids a bath. So yeah, maybe Leilani was on something and she was asleep, but she wasn't the one responsible for giving them the bath or making sure they were okay in the bath. So even when they say things like acknowledging that maybe Leilani did it, I also think that could be a tactic to make them look less guilty. So you let your guard down and you start exploring other avenues. Because when you hear someone say that, you automatically, you let your guard down. You think, okay, Billie Joe's being more authentic here. But you have to know about the backstory of the story that they're already putting together. And they're already putting together the story of Leilani being asleep when Danny decides to give these kids a bath. And then he tries to wake up Leilani the next morning and she doesn't wake up. And then he leaves and Quinton is gone. And that he's the one that takes the babysitter. But I'm hearing that in reality, and I can't confirm this for a 100% fact because we don't have the phones in front of our faces, right? So speculation warning, but this isn't me speculating. This isn't just me coming up with something. What I've been told is that the text message wasn't really from Danny. It was from Leilani. Do with that information what you will. But they want it to seem like Danny's the last person to see him. Danny was the one to give him a bath. Leilani was asleep and all of this. And they're creating this narrative that something happened in the bathtub and really it's mostly Danny's fault. While you could still blame Leilani for being a negligent mother because she was asleep and not taking care of her kids, but at the end of the day, she doesn't have custody over the kids either. But the other situation they're going to try to spin is the obsessed nanny who wants her own baby and is obsessed with the baby. That's the other story that they're also trying to half-assedly set up at the same time. So I may make a video on that because there's some things that have been said and I could pinpoint some things that was even said in the public interview that shows that they're trying to set that narrative up already. So we're in this for the long haul. Quinton hasn't been found. It's Wednesday. I assume they won't be searching this weekend. Hopefully they find out something soon. We're hoping for an arrest any minute, but who knows when it will come. Maybe it will never come. But right now, you're starting to see what I've been telling you all for the past few days. You're starting to see this plan going forward. And you're starting to see this family make the rounds. They're talking to everybody now. But in my next video, if they don't release the full audio yet, I'll probably go over the transcript. At least I will eventually. There may be some more crazy stuff happening any minute. You never know with this case. But if you would like to support the channel, you could do so by sharing this video on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever social media platform you use. If you don't like social media, tell a friend about my channel. If you would like to financially support this channel, you could do so via Cash App. I will drop my Cash App down below, or you could drop a super thanks. But while you're here, let me know what you think about all of this information down in the comments below. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Ring that notification bell. And I'll talk to you all in the next video.